Taurus, happy February. I hope you are doing well. Okay. It's funny because this morning that I got up, I was thinking, what special can I put for February, right? What love special can I put out there? And I was thinking, am I ready for love, right? But then I got sidetracked and I didn't think about it. And now I'm doing your reading. And it's funny because I was either pulling in this energy or I should go ahead and do that reading, which I think I'll post that as one of the options up there. But what I think is happening here is, ask yourself that question though too, even if you're in a current relationship. That's always something to be good and aware of, right, within yourself, because let's just be honest, life can pull us in 1,000 different directions, and sometimes we're not as present in our relationships as we should be. But if we're conscious about that, it's not the most easy thing to be, in the full control of everything every day of your life. But if you check in with yourself every day and you make sure that you're happy with how the day went, right, then I would say you're in a good spot. A daily check-in, even if it's the 2 seconds you're brushing your teeth, it's always something that's encouraged. I encourage that. Okay, now the energy cards that you come in with is the 5 of Coins. Okay, this is always how we're feeling. For some of you though, I'm getting off of here, you're either selling a house. So if you've been trying to sell a house and you're getting like it's not taking off or whatever, it can happen here. Okay, for some of you though, this is really how you're feeling. The 5 of Coins is kind of like, you've got the 5 of Coins, the 3 of Wands, and the 9 of Cups. Okay, and I think this is a really great place to be. Okay, because this can be disappointment in a relationship. It can be disappointment in something. When a 5 comes in, it's always going to put you in it's an amazing card. 5s and 7s are great cards to have because they're going to bring front and center the things within yourself that you need to deal with, right? It's kind of like they're really great cards though, because those are the things that free up karma within ourselves, right? Not the natural order of things. I'm not talking an eye for an eye. I'm talking karma is the repetitive things that we do over and over and over again. I'm not good enough. Why doesn't this person love me? Why don't I love myself? Why aren't I good enough? Why aren't I pretty enough? Why am I heavy or skinny or whatever, right? It's those things that we don't realize that in doing that over and over and over again, we're setting ourselves up for the same exact thing. You know what I mean? So you want to get a handle on those things. And those are what 5s and 7s always put in front of us. How bad do you want to fight for something? How much do you want to look at something? How bad do you want to correct something? Or do you want to keep circling the bend here? Right? Those are those things. But what I feel here is that you've got great opportunities in front of you. All right. I think for some of you, you've been disappointed in something. For some of you, you've got massive dysfunctional family members, which, let's just be honest, we all do. But it's what do you do with that? You know what I mean? The 3 of Wands is like, I've cast my ships and they are coming in. And these ships are huge. There we go. That's the ship. It's huge. Right? But it's your kingdom. It's just a metaphor for whatever it is that you're trying to send out as a boomerang is coming back to you. So keep that in mind, all right? Because that 5 of Coins is always how we're feeling, how we're telling, the story about ourselves. It's not really, we're not in a great spot with a 5, right? But the 5 of Coins is like, I've got to take acknowledgement and responsibility for this and pull it in a different direction. Now, the cards that I'm doing here for this month is I'm building a foundation for us to show you what you're trying to build your foundation on, right? And it's not going to happen in a month, so cut yourself some slack, okay? It's going to happen over time, like life does. So build it here on something that's substantial, okay? And the things that you're going to need to do this month that are going to be on your periphery are also going to be shown here, and your main objective, kind of where you're trying to guide this whole ship analogy, right? Kind of where you're trying to go. But you can branch out from that. Life is not written in stone, so don't hold yourself to something. If you start something and you're realizing, this opened up another door here. Go explore that. We don't need to do just tunnel vision all the time. You know what I mean? Now, the 3 cards that flew out, I have to say they all have connotations in them of the past. You know what I mean? But these are the only 3 cards. After that, everything goes forward. Everything is forward moving. So I think you're reflecting on some things, right? The 5 of coins, the 3 of wands, where I want to go. Do I want to continue to build on this, or do I want to go in a different direction here? Because the 3 is kind of like a card of active waiting. You know what I mean? But what do you do after a certain amount of point? You can't wait forever, right? You have to do something else. Say you're trying to pull a business something forward. You know what I mean? You can cast your product out there, but you've got to keep going at things there. Wait a bit, see what's the response is, but you know, you're constantly building on that. And the 9 of Cups. So this is either, for some of you, something that is going to turn, and I feel it in here. I think things in your life really turn in a great direction here. But for some of you, there's something from the past or someone from the past that you need to take an honest assessment of it, and whether you want to be back on board with that, or whether you want to release it and go forward with something. You know, for some of you, you've got current relationships in here that you want to look at that component as well. For some of you, you've got past relationships that could quite possibly come back together here. Okay, and for others of you, you've got brand new relationships coming in here. But the main question to ask yourself is, am I ready for love? Right? Meaning, if I'm looking for someone, you want to check those boxes first within yourself. Do I nurture myself? Do I respect myself? Do I value my time and my money and my energy? You know what I mean? Do I value those things? Do I take care of my health? Right? Because if those are those questions that you're pondering over, you're going to pull in someone, or you're going to look around you and realize that that's exactly the scenario that you're in. Okay? Now, you've got the Judgment card. Okay, which can speak of needing to forgive something and move forward in another direction. For some people, it can mean coming back together with something. But I'm going to say you want to take an honest assessment of what that is, right? Pull all the rose-colored glasses off and really take an honest look at, was this really as great as I'm thinking it is now? Or is it the stability that I thought I had that I want to feel again? You know what I mean? We need to look at the why that stability crashed and burned or separated or isn't exactly what you want it to be. Now, the other cards you've got is the Magician, which is the Oracle of Delphi, and you've got the Star card here. Now, if you look here, this Star card is looking back. It's reversed on the camera, but he's looking right at her, right? So I want to say here, make sure that your communication with everything that you're doing, including and most importantly to yourself, is be honest with yourself. Say what you mean and mean what you say. You know what I mean? Because I think that there's a mismatch here as to, I put this in one of my other videos too, and it's crucial. So your video might be a little bit longer, but it's important because you're making decisions here, you know what I mean? And you want to think them through, because the foundation is what you're building. And these cards are in your foundation, right? On my website and everywhere for that most part, I put my favorite Arabian mystic quote: take from life what is pure, and for living what is sufficient, right? And it's in Italian on my website. So when Wix decides that they're going to ask people if they want it translated, they translate it. I don't know where the hell they're pulling this from, but it says, and this is what happens in different languages, different cultures. Things mean different things in different contexts. So I don't know what Wix is pulling, right? But they translate it to remove, not take from. But I can see where this is getting mixed up. So this is where we need to really be conscious of the words that are coming out of our mouth, because they're repeating karma patterns for ourselves, right? Now, remove from life what is pure is in no way what I'm saying. It's actually the opposite of what I'm saying. But do you see how that can happen? We can perceive things and intend to say things in very different ways. So make sure that the people that you're engaging with are understanding you clearly, and make sure that you're understanding them clearly, okay? Because I think there might be something in reference to that. Now, again, that's where the story ends as far as going backwards, okay? The Star card, too, is really telling you, really know who you are. You know what I mean? Really know who you are and really know what you want. It's a card of great success, though, once you figure that out. It's like you're on solid ground again. So the fact that it comes up in your foundation is huge. And the Judgment card is saying, look, do we want to release the past, or do we want to go back and rehash that, which is an option, or do we want to release the past and go forward? Either way, you've got a calling in this card that you're not going to be able to not address, right? So it's, do I go back or do I go forward, right? So that's where that is. Now that's where it ends. Now the last card in your foundation is the Seven of Cups. It's a journey, right? The Seven of Cups is movement, right? It's choices. It's making wise decisions. It's again, it's a card of magic, right? Like, welcome in magic, because it's also a card of a proposal, relationships, things like that. So I think you've got a few things up in the air here. And let me get through the cards, because this does not just pertain to relationships. This pertains to business partnerships as well. Now, what you're doing this month, you've got the Five of Coins again. But do you see the difference here? In here, look at that. You're doing, I'm sorry, that's the Six of Coins. So do you see the progression here, though? If you let this mindset go, or you let this life go, or you let whatever it is that you're pining over here that clearly has not brought you happiness, which is, I feel, a mindset, right? If you let that go, this is the Six of Coins. You're doing something that you truly love. Time is just flying by and you're not even caring about it. You're just truly in the moment, doing truly, absolutely what you want. And look at the aesthetics. You're in a great place. You've got a great view. You're not rushed. You're fully engaged in what you're doing, right? That's pretty phenomenal. Okay. Now, the other card next to it is the Ace of Cups. Commitment. Right? And it doesn't need to be just commitment to one thing. And your other card is the Seven of Coins. Right? This is one of the Millionaire's cards. It's also a card, though, of being smart about what you're doing, paying attention. It's 6 and 7. They're progressions. And what you're going for with this is this. So you are fully committed to this, and you're fully committed to getting yourself there. Okay? All right. And your outcome card is the Queen of Cups. Okay, life is pretty good. And this card tells you to not stop going. Okay, you're going to reach, there's cards in here. What I feel for some of you is maybe a business perspective or something is failed in the water. For some of you, again, if you've got property that you've been trying to sell for a little bit, that could absolutely happen in here too. Okay, now the other things that I think are going on, I think for some of you, you've got new relationships coming in here. For some of you, these are past relationships that are coming back. They're returning. So you're going to need to figure out what you want to do with that, okay? For others of you, there's business commitments in here. There's job offers, promotions, new jobs, moves. I mean, you can really do anything right now. New business ventures. For some of you, there's paperwork to be signed to, documents. Maybe you've been waiting on something. Maybe you're waiting on working papers to work in another country. Maybe you're waiting on visas. Those things are clearing up in here for sure, okay? So for some of you, again, there's something around purchasing a house or trying to sell a house that's been on the market for a little bit. Now is the time where it's, and if you're looking for investment, if that's a new business prospect for yourself, there are investments in here in real estate. So keep your peepers open if that's what you do, okay? Or if that's what you're thinking about doing. Okay. There's also, and I want to point this out because I really feel within these two cards and the other ones, all of them actually in here. Again, if you want your business to go in a different direction, if you want to do something new, if you want to be in a new relationship is coming for you. So my question again is, are you ready for this? Meaning, are you nurturing yourself? Do you take care of yourself? You know what I mean? Do you know what sensuality is? And you know what? Let's just be honest. That's a very misunderstood word. You know what I mean? It's enjoying a really good meal. It's enjoying really nice bed linens. It's this, you know, this nice cozy sweater that I always wear. It's things, your slippers. It's good food. It's your pets. It's your aesthetics around your home, right? And I put that picture there because it's a constant reminder for me this year too of I don't always need to have my foot on the gas. The universe doesn't always need a wingman. It's let things come sometimes in the natural order of things. Flowers will bloom. They don't need our help. They're just going to do it. You know what I mean? And they usually bloom where they're planted. So my question to you here is, you know, are you taking care of yourself? Are you indulging in the pleasures and the luxuries and whatever that is? We don't need to talk about, you don't need to be a millionaire to indulge in things. You know, some of the places that I've lived were the tiniest and crappiest places, but you know what? I made them. I have memories of them because I really turned them into like oases, you know, a bathtub that you could barely fit like, you know, your butt in there. You couldn't lay down for sure. But I remember the luxury bubble baths. I remember, you know, having barely enough money to buy bubble bath or, you know, whatever. But those were the things that you treasured. You know, when we've got that 20, you know, zillion boxes of cereal, and I use that cereal aisle because it's too much. We don't appreciate the things. We just take for granted the things that we really shouldn't be. The people in our lives, the relationships in our lives. You know what I mean? Things like that. And that's what I think you're doing. I think you're going from this, you know, that mentality of, it's the lack mentality. And these are usually the fears that come up. They're usually just the fears. And whatever it is, it passes anyway. The 5 is a transitory card. Okay. But your ships, you know, they're coming in here. It's just you've got to tend to them. And this is what you're bringing in. So do you want your cups to overflow here and have your wishes come true with the star card here? These cards really looking at, do I want to go back or do I want to go forward? You know, and whatever you decide to do, you're going to need to look in the past here at these cards because the ticket to ride, I really feel here, is in the star card and in being really honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Because this is a journey. This boat, look at, this boat is on fire here and it's looking towards the past. This is a brand new journey and nothing is on fire here, you know? So you can either go back or you can go forward, and whatever is your course is what you need to be taking here. You know what I mean? But you've got to commit to yourself first and then commit to your business prospects or your family or whatever it is, you know, and you'll get there. You absolutely will. There is financial gain in here. There's new jobs in here. If you, like I said, there's no negative in here. It's just you're going to be put in a position where take a step back for a minute because it really can be all yours in here. You've just got to come at this from, my suggestion to you would be, Taurus, come at this from not a survival standpoint because there's no way you're going to crash and burn in here no matter what you do, right? But if you're going to be attaining or looking at reevaluating things from the past, be honest with yourself about that because you've got 2 doors here. One is assessing things from the past and one is going full steam ahead forward here. And, you know, whatever sits well for you. This is also a card, though, I want to say in here, you want to use your practicality in here too. Don't get so, be ready to do the work in here. You know what I mean? Because these things are coming to you, but you're going to need to put the work in here. So sometimes we can be too practical. You know what I mean? That we miss opportunities and we miss things like that. We make life too practical, too survival mode. There's a lot in here for you. And this really can be it. You know what I mean? Okay, so there you go. I hope that I helped you in some way. I think this was a phenomenal reading. I think you've got some thinking to do, right? Some taking care of yourself and that kind of stuff. And then the world is yours. It really sits here. So new relationships, new jobs, houses, journeys, selling, moving. It all sits in here. So this is a lovely reading. Except for some of you, I think you're more looking towards the past than the future. That star card tells you when you know who you are, you will absolutely step out on your own. Okay, there you go.